All right, guys, welcome to the Party Chat podcast. I'm your host, Peyton, here with my co host, JD, and my other co host, Brent. And we're here today to talk about Pixar's Soul. And I'm really excited about this one. I saw this about a month ago, and I'm really excited to dive back into this. I've been excited about this one. But first, tell me how your week's been, guys.
It's been all right. I only worked like 2 days this week, so I've been pretty bored for the rest of the time.
Yeah. I've been off of work since last Monday.
That's right.
In quarantine.
Yeah,
yes.
You're fucking quarantined.
I'm dodging it again though. I'm dodging that COVID. Still testing negative.
How did that even come about?
We're not 100% sure where my mom got it from. Today was her last day of quarantine. Yeah. It was my mom's we don't know where she got it from, but today was her last day of quarantine and I'm still symptomless, and I got tested once. I tested negative. I got tested again. Haven't heard back on that one yet. Rapid test was negative, but I feel fine, maybe, which I had it back in September. So maybe there's still some antibodies floating around in me, protecting me, which would be nice, because it's a scary thing.
Right, this is your second time getting COVID, or at least like potentially.
If I got it again,
COVID.
it'd be my second time. Yeah, God really wants me dead.
He's trying, man. Just don't get that third time.
You can't get me this time. You missed me once. Try again. Anyway, have you been, Brent?
I did nothing, but
nothing.
I scientifically proved what the lamest place on earth is.
What's that?
The American Midwest.
Really?
I would agree.
I like the Midwest.
Well, there's no... You're in the minority, Jay.
Why don't you like the Midwest? What's wrong?
Who are we about to piss off?
So okay.
Is this your extremist view of this episode?
Everywhere else in the world, there's some kind of history, like tangible history, like ruins. In the American Midwest, it's just burial mounds. There's biodiversity. Everywhere else in the world, besides like deserts are cool looking. The American Midwest is ugly. There's no like interesting animals there. There's like freaking groundhogs, and just nobody. There's no interesting cultures there either. There's just a bunch of.
Let me cut
dirt
this off
farmers.
by saying we are a pro groundhog podcast. Brent's views do not reflect our views on groundhogs. I'm very much pro groundhog, but anyways.
You could find a more interesting animal than a groundhog in any other place in the world, okay? Besides Antarctica.
Listen,
groundhogs are land beavers, okay? They're land beavers and they're cool.
The thing about the Midwest is it's just chill. It's a vibe. More than like either of the two coasts.
But is there anywhere that's less interesting than the Midwest?
That's a bold statement, JD.
It is. But I'm sticking by it.
You think the Midwest is more interesting than either of the coasts?
I didn't say more interesting. I said more vibe than the two coasts.
Okay. Here's my pros and cons on the Midwest. Pro Midwestern emo. Love Midwestern emo. Like like a defining like culture moment of the early 2000s, and still puts out like just awesome music. Like tons of great Midwestern artists. And just the sound of Americana in general, a lot of that originates with the Midwestern culture. The downside, it's flat. It's boring. You ever driven through a Midwestern state? It's awful. Yeah. Like, okay, are we going to count Illinois? A lot of people count Illinois. Geographically, it doesn't seem as Midwestern. Like, I really think of like Kansas and like Nebraska when I think of Midwest, but a lot of people group in Illinois. But I've driven through Illinois, and it is wind turbines, cornfields, and dick all. Like just nothing. Just for miles and miles, nothing.
It's a terrible place.
I've experienced most people in the Midwest are like way nicer than either of the two coasts.
That doesn't matter.
Okay,
they're lame.
Look.
That's all that matters. Doesn't matter how nice they are.
I didn't think this was a thing until I left the South a few times. It was like, oh, everybody's so much nicer in the South. I'm like, nah. No. Then you go north once and you're like, oh, everybody is a lot nicer in the South.
Really? I think everyone in the North is way nicer than people in the South.
It really depends on where you go.
We have a civil war brewing here.
I mean, like, I've lived in both the North and the South, and I can tell you that the North is a lot nicer from what I've experienced.
It really depends on where you go and who you are.
Yeah, what
If you're
ethnicity you are.
if you're
In the
black and
South,
you're gay,
especially.
if you're a black, gay, trans person, South is not a very friendly place. Well, if you're
That's
a
that's a
white
fair point.
Well, by
guy,
definition, then doesn't that make the North nicer just by default?
yeah, I'm
Don't
not
poke holes
arguing
through this,
either.
JD. Don't poke
It,
holes through this.
that's why it depends on who you are and where you are.
I will say this, like in Illinois, people weren't very nice, but when I went to Seattle, everybody was really nice in Seattle.
Yeah, it just
But
depends on where you are.
but I also was probably biased just because like when I went to Seattle, I wanted to stay. It was the hardest thing, like getting on a plane from Seattle, knowing you're going to a place that's objectively worse than where you're
Yeah.
like leaving. That's how
I
I
wanna
felt when I
live in
left
Seattle, too.
California. I was like, don't
So
want to
did
leave
it rain all the
California.
time in Seattle?
It didn't rain while we were there, surprisingly. It might have one day, but it was gray and it was dreary, but it didn't matter because it still looked pretty. Washington, I can't say enough good things about Washington though.
Yeah, I definitely
love
want to
that
visit.
place.
Like,
It's probably
Washington
one of the
and Oregon.
it's probably the prettiest place I've ever been.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
I want to go hiking.
Prettier than the Midwest, I'll tell you that
Temperate
much.
rainforests.
I'm really going to go visit like Northern California and just like go hiking up there.
Same. Yeah, I want to go to
Yeah.
Oregon. I've got a cousin that lives in Portland, and I've got a cousin that lives in Seattle, and I want to like visit both of them.
We should all just get a big group together and just go hiking.
Yeah.
Just like camp out.
Yeah, I camped while I was in Washington, and that was the first time like I had ever like for real like not Boy Scout camped, like, and it was that was the first time I ever shit in the woods because I was like, hey, where's the bathroom? And they were like, nature's your bathroom.
That's true.
So I just had to squat down and become one with nature, and I've never been the same since. But I love camping now. It just stays 60 degrees the whole time while you're there too.
Yeah.
So that was amazing. But
Yeah, I never really liked camping with the Boy Scouts. Well, I was never a Boy Scout. I was a Cub Scout.
yeah, I was a Cub Scout too. Yeah.
Yeah, whenever we were camping, it was always like the adults always made us do certain things and like go certain places, and they kind of ran the whole thing. We didn't have any freedom.
Yeah, that's how it was for us too. Brent, we were in the same Cub Scout troop for like a year.
Yeah.
Did you ever?
I left because it was dumb.
Yeah, it was awful. Did you ever go with us to Camp McMorris? Or was that okay, that was after you left. Okay, so it's right on the Tennessee River, and it was literally just like they made us do like the lamest activities because they hyped us up. They're like, we're gonna do archery, we're gonna do hatchet throwing.
Ooh.
And I was like, yeah. And we get out there and it's these wooden, like plywood hatchets that they made for it. And like Nerf bows and arrows. And I was like, this is the biggest fucking ripoff of my life. And also, it got down to like 30 degrees that night, and I had to sleep in long johns.
Oh God.
And nothing's a more unpleasant experience than wearing long johns. And anyway, Brent, you got out at the right time.
Yeah.
JD, how high did you make it in your Cub Scout ranking?
Oh, how high did I make it? I don't even remember. I think I was a bear.
I made it all the way to Weeblo, but I
never made it. I never made it to Weeblo.
I skipped one year though, and I don't know how they let me get away with that.
I don't even remember like the levels. I know there was like Tiger. And,
I did Tiger. Tiger was your first year. Then I think Wolf was your second year.
That's
or
what it was.
something.
Wolf.
I skipped Wolf, and then I went straight to
it.
Yeah, because I just didn't do it that year. Then I was like, I want to do it again, and then I did Bear, and I don't know how they let me go straight to Bear, and then I
Bears
did
are
Weeblo.
cool.
Yeah, bears are
You-
cool.
Bears are like my favorite animal. You know what else is also cool though? I've eaten bears.
You've eaten a bear?
They taste good.
When?
Like a year ago?
How? Like, what were you doing that?
My
Led you
dad
to
went
eating a bear?
hunting for bears. And then he went hunting for bears. They killed a
God.
bear. He
Holy
cooked
shit, that
the
killed a
meats.
bear?
I don't think he killed the bear. I think he
Dale
was just like
Johnson killed
along
a
for
bear?
he was along for the ride.
Yeah, bears
Johnson,
aren't
Kevin
endangered, are
Johnson,
they?
please.
We're not going to be labeled
Polar bears are, but
we're not going to be labeled a poaching podcast
Well,
after
no,
this, are we?
No, black bears are very prolific. They're everywhere. Grizzly bears and unless you're in Alaska, well, I think grizzly bears are only really found.
Oh
in
yeah, we
Alaska.
do have a lot of black bears in Tennessee, especially in the mountains. But speaking of animals who have no souls,
this is your segue.
yes, bears have no souls. Pixar
Have you not seen
Soul.
Brother Bear? The whole movie's about bears having souls.
Dude, Dude, fuck Brother Bear.
I love that movie when I was a kid. I loved Brother Bear.
I'm sure I watched it. I don't remember it.
I did. I
Is
enjoyed it.
isn't Joaquin Phoenix in that?
Is he?
Yeah, he is.
Really?
I think he's the brother bear.
He's the brother bear.
He's the brother bear.
Which one's the brother? Which one's the bear, Brent?
I think they're one and the same.
No, because one of them is the bear, the other one's the brother.
Well, it's called Brother Bear, so Brother Bear is like a singular person.
Well, they're both brothers.
Well, yeah.
Well, they're both bears too.
Yeah. Well, there's only
one of
bear.
them's a human because the one guy turns into
But he turns into a bear.
Yeah, and then his brother like hunts him or something like that. Isn't that what happens? Like he like.
Yeah.
He's like, oh,
he turns into a bear. The brother thinks that the bear killed his brother.
Yeah.
And so he's like, I will go kill this bear. Little does he know the dramatic irony of the bear is actually his brother. And then drama unfolds. And then he gets a brother bear, like an actual bear, that treats him like a brother. And he becomes the big brother bear to this bear. And then they go on a little adventure with mooses and stuff. And then the movie concludes.
You know, I loved that movie when I was a kid, but I don't know if it hold up. I hope it.
This turned into a Brother Bear review very fast.
Well, it's very, in hindsight, it's kind of insensitive, the movie, for the Inuit people or whatever.
I can see that.
Probably, yes.
Yeah.
Like, there's the music in it isn't even like Inuit music. It's it's like a Hungarian women's choir or something.
That's a yikes.
But
anyway, speaking of Disney movies where soul leave body,
is Brother Bear Disney? I thought it was DreamWorks.
It is Disney.
No, Brother Bear was Disney. Yeah.
Okay.
The Croods is DreamWorks.
Yes. Somebody never saw the Mike Super Short Show review of Brother Bear. And it really shows you. It shows.
It's true. I never saw it.
I haven't either. I don't know who that
I
is.
must have missed that one.
You guys don't. Please tell me you remember Mike's Super Short Show on Disney Channel.
No.
That man doesn't have a soul.
It was this little like quick like 2 or 3 minute thing that would air in on the Disney commercial breaks. And it was like Allison Stoner was on it, and I don't know who played Mike, but they would preview like upcoming Disney movies and stuff. And they had one for Brother Bear, I'm pretty sure. That or I'm talking out of my ass right now, but
I think you're just tripping.
They had one for Narnia. I remember that one because I was a big Narnia kid. But we won't get into me being a Narnia kid. Anyways, souls leaving bodies in movies made by Disney.
So I didn't know anything about this movie when I watched it. I didn't know he in the movie.
Spoilers.
Oh, that happens in the first 5. That happens literally in
I know.
minutes.
It's in the trailer.
Can you step like a big like rubber duck noise over Brent over his spoiler? Just anyway, there will be spoilers in this discussion here. Okay, FYI, we're gonna dive deep into Soul here.
Spoiler warning.
Yeah, I'll put it a spoiler warning.
From this
At the
point
end
on,
of the Soul movie, Soul Man dies. Spoilers.
And that literally happened to the trailer.
It did. I didn't watch the trailer. I was completely blind.
Yeah, I went into this movie completely blind too. Yeah, I was on the same page with Brent. Who wants to tell us about Soul? Who's got a little synopsis here? A spoiler-free one.
Spoiler-free one.
I'm kidding. I don't care what we do. He dies in the first 5 minutes of the movie.
The movie Soul features Joe Gardner, played by actor Jamie Foxx, on his journey through the 9 layers of hell. In this movie, he will overcome his tribulations and will succeed. Joe Gardner.
To an extent, that is true.
The movie features the voice acting talents of Tina Fey, Jamie Foxx, Questlove, Daveed Diggs,
Dude,
Richard Iowati.
Big team Questlove over here.
And somebody else.
And Daveed Diggs. I would die for Daveed Diggs.
I would too.
Just absolute.
End of synopsis.
All right, you know what? I'm just gonna read the IMDb synopsis of it.
We could have just been lying the whole time. I think one of our synopses each week should be a lie, and we have to rely on people to catch it.
So, after landing the gig of a lifetime, a New York jazz pianist suddenly finds himself trapped in a strange land between Earth and the afterlife.
He dies.
He dies. He falls in a manhole.
So the first thing I noticed about this movie is that it's gorgeous. This movie is beautiful.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
like
Yeah.
absolute best Pixar animation I've ever
This
seen.
movie, it takes place in Queens, right?
Some New
Somewhere in
York.
New York, Queens or
Somewhere in New
Brooklyn.
York. Yeah. Like, it looks like the world looks so lived in,
Hmm.
and it looks so
It's
beautiful.
very detailed.
Yeah.
Especially like the people walking by, like each one of them is individually like modeled. So like the
Hmm.
millions of people that are in New York are all individually like different people, which compared to like Illumination, they've done like city movies before, and all the people just look the exact same and look
Yeah,
like they're
all the Dr. Seuss
NPCs in a video
movies.
game.
Right.
It like blew me away. And the urban environments of this movie are so realistic. I imagine a contrast with the dead area, the hell.
Well, it's not hell.
Well, yeah. It looks so good.
Yeah,
Like that school in the beginning, it looked like as someone who was in band, that looked like a
Yeah.
band classroom.
That looks like a depressing band classroom, though.
Well, that it looked like my band classroom. It was great. This movie was so beautiful. I love the difference of style too, with the little soul people, little soul helpers, the
The
metaphysical
Jerry's, right? Were they
constructs
Jerry's or
of the
Terry's?
universe. Well, there's Jerry's, and then there's a Terry.
That's right, yeah.
And I love their design and
yeah,
the way that works in the movie.
I love the way Terry was integrated whenever he's in the real world.
Yes,
His little details and stuff. That was so cool to me. Like,
I love
it's
that.
just they really, and Pixar's been great about this lately, which I know like Pixar hasn't been hitting like homer after homer like they did back in the day.
Right.
But like their animation quality, which did you guys see Toy Story 4?
No.
Which okay, the animation it does kind of get to shine to an extent because I mean they still have to make the characters look like the old style, but whenever it's a newer character or when it's showing like the real life environments, like it's just stunning. Which not a lot of people talk about that now because I guess it's almost expected. Like animated movies, like we expect them to get better, but that takes like a ton of effort, and I feel like it's showcased a lot more in this movie because there's a lot more scenes in a real world not involving toys, obviously, but so the real environments like New York feels real, like Brent said, the classroom feels real, and all the environments, the jazz club, everything. Just when they're on stage and they're all playing their instruments, like I almost feel like just the lighting from the stage lights, the characters,
the lighting in particular is really well
like
done.
the sweat and the hair and everything, like it's just like extraordinary attention to detail.
I love the zone that Joe gets in when he's like playing the piano.
Yeah. Oh, those are so beautiful. I love those scenes.
Yeah. Which is just like what happens when you like are playing something and just lost in what you're doing. It's like everything else just disappears. It doesn't matter. Yeah, it's beautiful.
And I thought when Joe dies, when he first dies and falls down the manhole, the first glimpse you get of the great beyond, like I almost got like chills when I saw it.
Yeah, if I were a kid, I would have been crying there. I would have been terrified.
I felt terrified of it, but I was also like, it was that curiosity of like, oh, what is it? Like I would credit that not so much to the animation, which the animation team did a great job, but to just the storyboard artist and the concepts behind that and the ambiguity of the great beyond and the stairway. And I like the way that was designed.
I love how you never find out what's actually is the great beyond.
Yeah, and the way it just made me feel like when I looked at it, I was like, whoa, like I feel like I died. Like I'm like, I'm dead right now. I'm looking at eternity.
Yeah,
is this a Pixar movie? I had to ask myself that because I went in with the lowest expectations for this. Because I didn't even want to watch it. It was just like kind of sprung on me last minute. It's like, we're watching this. And I was like, okay, fine, whatever. And about 10 minutes in, I'm like, oh my God, this is good.
I had heard it was good. Based on people like recommending it to me. But the trailer, when I first watched it like a couple months ago, I really wasn't too impressed, I guess. I was kind of like, oh, Pixar's track record recently hasn't been that great. I didn't care for Incredibles 2 at all.
No, I'm not big.
Yeah, so like, I don't know about this, but oh man, I was blown away by this movie. This is honestly in my top like 5 favorite Pixar movies.
Oh no, 100%. This was probably, it's in like my top 3, if not, it might honestly be my favorite movie of last year.
Yeah.
I really just like, I haven't, left a movie, not just an animated movie, I'll just say like a movie in general, being like feeling profoundly like uplifted, like I
Yeah,
did after watching this. Like I
I
felt like my soul felt better after watching this. No pun intended. Like I genuinely,
yeah,
like I felt better.
I love the message
I
of the movie too, and I think it's something that a lot of people definitely need to hear, and
Hmm.
it's a good message for everyone, especially young kids.
Yes, it struck a chord with me. I guess it will for people. I put this in my notes here, specifically people who have aspirations, whether it be like music or getting into like the entertainment industry,
Yeah,
and or which it really just applies to people with expectations in general, or
yeah,
who want a very specific career path. And I have been very guilty of this because, like, I play guitar. Everybody dreams of being in a band
yeah.
one day, or
Oh yeah,
being on TV, being a YouTuber. And sometimes you put all your eggs and all your expectations in that basket, and a lot of times you kind of wrap up your self-worth
yeah,
in your aspirations. And I think that's what happens in this movie. And so when
yeah,
that is taken from him, he starts to fall apart, which I've been there. Like, you've
yeah,
been
yeah,
at a
yeah,
point where you feel like you had a dream taken away from you, and then it just takes the wind out of your sails, and it just
yeah,
guts you. But this movie just finds a way of, you know, taking that hurt and realizing, what you really should be living for along the way, and that you shouldn't be living for a certain end game. Because, when he gets to the end of the movie and he gets his wish, like he's like, oh, that was it. you know I have to do that like all the time now. And it's like, when you get everything, it's like, okay, well, what am I living for now? Like, I put all my eggs in this basket, and not to
exactly.
be all it was the friends we made along the way, but it's like, look around, like
Yeah,
look at what all you're ignoring or neglecting right now, or whether it's people or really simple things, whether it's just like, a cup of coffee in the morning, or like the leaf in the movie falling from the tree, or the beautiful things
yeah.
that Joe notices and stuff, and he just completely throws away to the side just because he has this tunnel vision on what he wants.
That's literally what I was about to say. Is yeah, Joe. Like a lot of people in life have like, and me included as well, have like tunnel vision because
Hmm.
it's just me and like this end goal right here. And if I don't reach my goal, whatever this is, like nothing else matters. You know what I mean? Like
Hmm.
this is the only
Absolutely.
thing that matters to me. Then you spend your whole life trying to reach it, and if you don't, you kind of feel deflated or like a failure. But
Hmm.
then later it's like, well, I did live my whole life. Like I have so many good memories of, just like small things like eating pizza, like in this movie, or just going to the beach with
Hmm.
friends, or just hanging out and talking. Like all those moments in your life are just as important as your goal
Hmm.
and as your
Absolutely.
passion. And even being a quote unquote failure in your passion, like if you play guitar, just because you don't make it big or make it at all as a musician doesn't make you a failure. Like
Hmm.
playing guitar, just having that as your passion is enough to have like fulfillment in your life. You're doing
Hmm.
things that make you happy. And I think
It,
that's a great message that
yeah,
really connected with me a lot. Like it kind of changed honestly my outlook on things and my goals and aspirations. I'm like,
it's
this is enough.
yeah, that was another thing that I kind of noticed more so as I thought about the movie after, is that when you have a passion, are you doing it for the right reasons?
Yeah.
Because it's established, and all he talks about in the movie is how much he loves music, how much he loves jazz. But it's like in the beginning of the movie, he was more obsessed with the idea. He was more in love with the idea of being a famous jazz musician than he was playing jazz. Because if he really loved jazz and loved playing music, why is he neglecting like his classroom and teaching these kids and stuff?
Exactly.
And
Yeah.
yeah, and instilling in them that same passion for music rather than a passion for success, or not really a passion for success, but more of
Yeah.
like what you said, what society sees as success.
And he never even gave other people the time of day to talk about what they wanted to. Like when he's talking to the
Yes.
barber,
Yep.
he's like,
Hmm.
"Oh, Joe never had that good of a conversation with you when 22 is in his body."
Yeah, that's not even
Um,
him.
yeah, yeah. and 22 as Joe is like, "Oh, like why did we never have a conversation like that?" And he's like, we always talked about jazz. It's like you never asked me what like I wanted to do.
Yeah, I can't relate to any of that, but it was a good movie. It was a good movie.
It's a great movie.
It
I
was.
absolutely love this movie. I thought about it like for days after watching it.
I
Yeah, I,
um
I cried. I cried a lot. I'm
What
just
part
I
did
not
you cry?
gonna.
almost did. I almost did, but
I'll let Brent
didn't
talk, then I'll talk about when I cried.
because crying is really annoying. I specifically don't cry because it's just irritating. Like
Yeah,
it feels you can't see. It's just
a good
why
cry
do it?
feels good.
Like eventually, but in the moment it's terrible. It's like, oh
Sometimes you
God,
just
I don't
need a
want
good
to.
cry.
I can't see. You can't see. It's irritating. You don't have glasses, JD, so.
I just take them off.
Yeah, I cried when he got done with his first gig at the jazz club, and at the end, and he just starts heading back home, and I was like, oh my God, I know exactly where this movie is going, and I don't like it. I was like, don't do this to me. I felt like this movie is about to personally attack me on every level.
Yeah.
And it just kept coming like blow after blow. And also I cried again at the end where, he steps off the bridge and they offer him a new chance at life. And he walks out the door and smiles like, well, I liked it. I liked that ending. I wrestled with it for a little bit. Why'd you hate it?
I feel like the movie would have been more complete if he just died.
If he died.
Yeah, but the fact that he like gets this free pass, it's just, I don't know, it doesn't.
I kind of understand what you're saying, but I don't think it matters. And I don't think it takes anything away from the movie.
It doesn't.
I feel like
it's annoying.
I feel like him dying almost undermines the message of the movie, which I kind of get where you're coming from, but like the point at the end was for him to enjoy like living, because he was living for the wrong reasons. So they gave him another chance. And I feel like that's what the last shot of the movie was signifying, that he finally, knew how to live.
Yeah.
So I feel like that was a more complete wrap to his arc. I feel like that was satisfying, because I was like, I was in the same boat, because I was like, oh, it's a cop-out Disney movie. Of course he gets to live. Nobody dies.
Yeah.
But like, oh, no, I understood why he lived.
But like the last 5 minutes of the movie, like before that point, all relied on you like believing that, like the emotional swell you get when he's like sacrificing himself for 22. You're like, the reason that it's emotional is because you know that he's going to die if he does it. But then it turns out he doesn't die, so you feel cucked, It's just, I don't like it when movies do that. It's just a cop-out. I still feel that.
I don't know. I felt like it was emotional just because of like how he changed and how his perception.
Yeah, I felt like it was more Joe's. That's his name, right?
It's Joe.
Forgetting. Yeah, because I'm like, did I just make that up? But like, because I feel like it's really his arc more than anything.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, it is 22's arc at the end too, but I feel like it's really about Joe's character development at the end there, and him changing his perspective. And also, the music was great.
Yes.
I just love the jazz feel. Like, I felt like
John Batista.
Yeah, and the subway scene, like that music and the singing.
Trent Reznor.
Yeah, everything was great.
Oh, speaking of the music, one of my favorite songs is in this movie. It was Check the Rhyme, the famous song by Tribe Called Quest was playing in the barbershop for all of a second.
That I said that out loud. I was like, is that a Tribe Called Quest in the background? Because like, well, here's the thing. I was surprised that like out of all the Tribe Called Quest songs, they didn't play "We Got the Jazz" in the jazz movie.
Yep.
So I was like, I'm okay with Check the Rhyme, because I love Check the Rhyme, but I was like, it's like a big missed opportunity. Which, to be fair, it would have been really on the nose, but still. But yeah, I can't believe that they got Trent Reznor and Atticus Ross to do a Pixar movie. That's the weirdest thing. It's like, hey, David Fincher guys, you want to do a Pixar movie? But they did great, though. They did great. They handled it really well. I think they were like, hey, we're making a really existential film. And they're like, okay, no, we're on board. Let's do it. We do existential very well.
Another thing I liked about this movie was the Terry character.
Love Terry. Big Terry stan. Love the New Zealand accent.
Yeah, I also really liked Richard Iowati as the soul collector. He was like the guy that was over Terry. I liked his performance. I'm not too big a fan of Tina Fey.
In the movie?
I'm not either, but she was good in the movie.
Yeah,
she was good in the movie.
She worked really well.
I didn't even know it was Tina Fey till after I watched the
movie.
Dude,
that's me too. I had no idea it was Tina Fey.
I didn't know who Tina Fey was till I watched the movie. I was like, oh yeah, that's Tina Fey. I don't really care for her.
From the hit film Baby Mama? You don't know Tina Fey?
I might be I'm confusing Tina Fey for Zooey Deschanel. They hold on. They look like the exact same, don't they?
No, they don't.
Not
Oh
even
no,
Home
Tina
Alone.
Fey. She's the 30 Rock person. Yeah.
Yeah. No, Zoe Deschanel's like 500 Days of Summer, like New Girl.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she's the scary-eyed person.
Yeah.
You don't like Zoe Deschanel's eyes?
She has scary eyes, I think. Yeah, she has scary eyes, right? Yeah.
But,
Yeah, she has scary eyes. Anyway.
Jamie Foxx did really well in this movie too.
Mhm.
I wasn't really big on Jamie Foxx like as an actor, although to be fair, the first thing I think I ever saw him in was The Amazing Spider-Man 2.
Oh god.
And then I was like, oh, so this is what Jamie Foxx is. And then I was like, oh, Django Unchained exists. And I was like, oh, never mind. No, he's good. It was just, that was Sony.
Wait, Jamie Foxx was Django?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't
Have
realize
seen
that.
Django Unchained?
I
How
have
did you not
seen
realize?
Django Unchained. I just didn't realize that. I don't pay attention like actors.
He was also in Baby Driver.
Oh
Yeah.
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 Mhm.
Oh, I think I confused Jamie Foxx. Who's that other guy? Yeah, the one that was in that movie.
That one
The
movie.
one who was in that movie, yeah.
Yeah.
Washington, Dennis.
Denzel Washington?
Denzel Washington.
Denzel Washington. Yeah. But he's not
Brent.
Denzel Washington. Denzel Washington's a different actor.
They are different, Brent. Yes.
They are different people, yeah. I don't pay attention to actors, I'm sorry.
But I was telling you guys I saw a tweet right before we started the show. And I'll save it for now. It says Pixar in 1995. What if toys had souls? Pixar in 2003. What if fish had souls? Pixar in 2011. What if we made a genuinely awful sequel to Cars? And that brings me to my next point. This was Pixar's best movie in a long time. They've been.
I need to look up actually right now.
Yeah, let's
Pixar's whole
all pull up a list here.
I think the last movie they made was like The Incredibles 2. Oh no, it was Toy Story 4, right? And then Incredibles 2, and then The Good Dinosaur.
Well, there was one that went straight to Disney Plus called Onward, but I have not seen
Oh
that.
yeah. No, that
I haven't
movie
seen that either.
looked terrible.
Is it terrible? I haven't heard it's that bad.
Yeah, it did.
It
not
looked
pique-
terrible,
It didn't.
but I think it
didn't
was
pique
very
my interest
mediocre.
at all.
Like one thing I hate, like it had like a role that seemed like it would just be Jack Black and it wasn't Jack Black. And that's what
Chris
really
Pratt instead.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was good. I'm
Like-
gonna guess that was Chris Pratt in the movie.
Yeah.
No, let's see. No, Coco came out in 2017.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
no,
I loved
Coco.
Coco.
I
Coco,
haven't seen Coco.
loved Coco. Oh, Coco's so good. Coco is a shining gem in a sea of meh in the last 4 or 5 years because we had Onward never really piqued my interest. Toy Story 4 was very fine, but it's like I'm in a Pixar movie. I just expect a little bit more than this.
I never
It
watched it, but it was just described to me as Woody's midlife crisis.
No, that's exactly right. And they shouldn't have made it anyway, because Toy Stories are always kind of just been Woody and Buzz's thing, and they cut Buzz completely out of this movie just because Tim Allen's weird. So he has like 3 lines that may or may not like have even been recorded by Tim Allen. They might just be patched together from old Home Improvement episodes.
They got George Clooney to do it.
Best recasting choice. We're going to reiterate if they want to do. Well, here's the thing: they're making a solo Buzz Lightyear movie called Lightyear.
Heard
George
about that.
Clooney.
That's right. Isn't it going to be
Call
kind of
him
like Buzz Lightyear Star Commander?
That
Or whatever
old
that
show.
show's called?
I remember that.
Yeah, I
show.
like that
kinda
show.
hoped
Yeah,
that was a good
I
show.
I have good memories of that show, yeah.
Very
I think it was
strong.
Buzz Lightyear Space Ranger.
Yeah,
Is that what it's called?
strong.
I could have sworn it was called like Star Commander.
It doesn't
Here.
matter. Let's just-
Settle this once and for all. But yeah, it was.
yeah, Buzz
very,
Lightyear Star Command.
I don't know.
Right.
Which
You're right,
it's very pretty much just Woody's movie, and everybody else is just very much like way off to the side.
Yeah.
Which it's fine. It feels like a Pixar short that went on for a really long time. Because the whole time I was watching it, I'm like, I can't believe this is a Toy Story sequel, which I guess is almost a little refreshing because it's very not high stakes at all. Like you
Mhm.
feel like some of the other Toy Story movies are. Like I guess specifically Toy Story 3 which the feeling of imminent doom you feel at the end.
That one works though with high stakes because it's the end of like the big trilogy.
Yeah, exactly. Which I felt like it should have ended there. So that's why this one is such like it's just.
Yeah.
Which I get. It's nice because I felt like they're going to go even higher stakes this time, which they didn't. They did exercise some restraint with this one, but it's just very like. You leave the movie theater feeling like, that was nice. Like,
Forky isn't even in it that much, is he?
He is a decent bit, I would say, because the plot is very central to Forky. Forky is almost the MacGuffin of the movie. But Toy Story 4 was fun. The Incredibles 2, big trash.
I didn't really care trash. I didn't like it very much. Yeah, a lot of people like it.
No. After so underwhelming compared to the Incredibles 1, which is probably I would, if not my number 1, probably my number 2 or 3 Pixar movie. I love The Incredibles so much.
Oh yeah, that's like one of my favorite childhood movies.
And before that, Coco. Oh my God, Coco. Oh, I could go on and on about Coco. What a great movie. That was fantastic.
No, before dude, that movie makes me cry every single time.
Yeah, no, Coco's a tearjerker. I didn't cry as much in Coco as I did in this one, but it tugs on the heartstrings, and it has that Pixar heart to it.
Yeah,
that I feel that's what
it has. That because Pixar have a formula that they base like most of their movies on, and usually that would get stale after a while. But Pixar just every single time they do it, it works, and it works like so well.
And
except for like a couple of their movies where it doesn't work.
Speaking of Cars 3, Cars 3 was, I don't know why it existed. It's better than Cars 2. It's better than Cars 2. But anything's better than Cars 2.
Cars 3?
Lightning McQueen old.
Oh, like you're not going to be a racer anymore, something like that.
But
Finding Dory was fine.
That movie starred Ellen DeGeneres, so it's terrible.
Yeah, she is kind of an asshole.
Yeah, I forgot we're on the cancel out.
No, before she turned out to be a dickhead, she's a void of personality. I despise that woman. Anyway.
We could go in on the Ellen show, and it's how it is the end of culture.
I could, but I wanna.
Is rooting my lifelong dream of being on Ellen.
You don't want to be. We're solving your like.
We're ruining the lifelong dream of being humiliated. Yeah, we're being. JD wanted to go get humiliated on Ellen.
We're helping you, JD.
Did either of you guys see The Good Dinosaur? I never saw it.
No, I never did.
I watched it, and then I think that's everybody's opinion on The Good Dinosaur. Okay, this is
Inside Out.
I haven't seen Inside Out.
Inside Out was very good.
I love Inside Out.
I've heard it's really good.
Inside Out made me cry like 3 times.
So I probably need to watch that one. I'll probably like it because it seems very similar to Soul.
As a quick addendum to the Buzz Lightyear of Star Command discussion that lasted a second, Patrick Warburton played Buzz Lightyear. And he should play Buzz Lightyear in the next movie. That's what should happen.
Joe Swanson for Buzz Lightyear.
Yes.
Like, Woody, was wondering if you wanted to go to Star Command. He'd be like, hey, Peter. Hey, Peter, you're gonna pick me up off the floor. I've been laying here for some time now. And he's just gonna talk in his Kronk voice the whole time. You know what? Maybe the Buzz Lightyear movie's not a bad idea if they get Patrick.
Yeah, no, it's a great idea.
Where do you guys stand on Monsters University?
I do not care for it. I kind of watched it. Didn't really like it.
It's harmless to me. It's kind
harmless, but
it's in the same vein as Toy Story 4 to me. Like it has some moments where I really laughed, but there's a lot of moments where it was just like, okay, why does this exist? Mm-hmm. And Brave, I didn't like Brave.
I never watched Brave. I have actually not seen a lot of Pixar movies.
I've seen Brave. I really like the aesthetic of Brave.
Yeah.
But the story, I'm not too big a fan on. I like the Scottish Moor. The story was bad.
I've seen most of Pixar's movies, like Toy Story 3 and back. Just like I've barely seen anything from like post Toy Story 3.
Actually, Brave was just Brother Bear, but instead of Brother Bear, it was Mother Bear.
Mother Bear.
That's all Brave was. That's literally just what Brave was. Instead of like Inuit spirituality, it was Scottish spiritual. It's just like a side grade to Brother Bear. That's Brave. It's not better. It's not worse.
And did either of you see Cars 2?
No.
I did.
My brother watched that movie about like 10 times. I never saw it.
JD, I really need you to watch Cars 2.
You don't need to. You don't need to.
I
watch it tonight.
No, because you're gonna hold that over my head like you hold the Taken King over my head. Because Cars 2 is I was like 12 when I saw it. I still felt like I wasted my time. That's saying something. You can't waste a 12-year-old's time. They don't do anything. And I was like, wow, I feel robbed of 2 hours of my life. But I'd say Cars 2 was Pixar's first misstep to me.
Yeah.
Even though I'm not like...
Maybe Cars 1.
Cars 1 isn't a horrible movie.
No, I like Cars, but it's pretty much solely for nostalgia purposes, so I won't defend it too much.
Cars 1 was certainly like...
If you told me Cars wasn't a Pixar movie, I think people wouldn't be as hard on it. But it's just Pixar has such a track record for meaningful movies, and it's just like, Cars, whatever.
I have also never seen A Bug's Life, and I don't hear anything about it ever.
Pixar, I forgot Pixar did A Bug's Life.
Yeah, Bug's Life just doesn't look like it would interest me.
Bug's Life is okay.
I hear no one talk about it ever.
Yeah, no.
It's
so
okay.
That's kind of why I'm interested in it. I need to see what's up with A Bug's Life.
I liked Ants a lot as a kid. I watched Bug's Life. I watched Ants. I watched Ant Bully.
Yeah.
The Ant Bully.
Yeah, there's a lot of ant-related movies that came out around that time.
Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. Did either of you guys see the old Honey, I Shrunk the Kids with a terrifying ant scene in that movie?
I think I did.
Yeah.
It was on...
I hate that.
I watched that. Creepy. I watched Honey, I Blew Up the Kids.
That was good.
I haven't seen that one.
Or Honey, I Shrunk Ourselves.
Honey, We Shrunk Ourselves. I remember that. That's the reason I remember the word potassium. Because one of the kids has like a potassium deficiency, and they're shrunk down, and they're like, "Oh no, he needs a banana," and they give him a banana, and he's fine. That's all I remember from Honey, We Shrunk Ourselves. But so what's y'all's favorite Toy Story movie? If you had to pick one, or not Toy Story, Pixar. I've spoiled mine.
Well, answering your first question, I would say Toy Story 2.
I would say Toy Story 2 as well.
Yeah, see, Brent has taste.
Yeah, Toy Story 2 is my favorite Pixar movie altogether.
Really?
Yes.
That's a hard one.
My favorite Pixar movie is probably, just thinking right now, probably Brave. I just like the look of that movie. Like, favoritism has no respect to quality. I just like the look of the movie.
That is true.
I like the Scottish Moor castles and stuff. I haven't seen that movie in forever, but like when I'm thinking about movies, I'm like, I have a strong attraction to it. So, Brave.
Okay. Here, what might be the best?
It's a terrible movie, actually. No, it's pretty bad. Brave.
I think my favorite non-Toy Story Pixar movie is probably Monsters, Inc. or Ratatouille. I love Monsters, Inc.
Oh, yeah.
I think for me, it might be The Incredibles.
Also,
Incredibles.
Yeah,
they're all good.
I'm going back and forth between The Incredibles and
I think The Incredibles is probably my favorite, and I think Ratatouille is probably their best.
Ratatouille is very underrated.
Yeah. Dude, I love Ratatouille.
Notice The Incredibles and Ratatouille are both Brad Bird movies.
That's right.
Brad Bird, baby. Although he did make The Incredibles 2, which was big trash, but...
It was a big trash. It was just kind of uninspired.
Yeah, it just felt very phoned in.
Now that I think about it, I'm going to rescind my my Brave choice. I was very brave, but I don't know. Probably Brave.
He's going to go back on, and he's like, you know what? No. Double down on Brave. You can commit to it, Brent. I won't judge you.
I just like the look of the movie. I haven't watched it in a million years. It's better movies, but whatever.
He loves Brave for the aesthetic.
I do. I just like Celts. Choice. But yeah. Back to Soul. I have some nitpicks.
Oh no.
I have some Soul nitpicks.
Some Soul picks.
Oh, some real good actual film criticism here.
We don't do that in this podcast.
In one scene, there's a continuity error.
Oh no.
Where Joe didn't have his hat and glasses, and then the next scene he did have his hat and glasses, and they didn't explain how he got the hat and glasses, and that matters a lot to me as a film watcher and as a viewer and as a reviewer. There's one part in the movie where he gets a new suit and it doesn't match his hat, and I hated that. There's one like throwaway gag where Archimedes is trying to teach 22 how to say euro. He didn't have euros in Archimedes' time, and that pisses me off. And it almost made me cry, and crying is really annoying. Those are my nitpicks.
So what you're saying is you hated it.
I hated the movie. It was terrible, yeah. Especially that Archimedes bit. That Archimedes bit pissed me off. Like, euros weren't invented till like the 19th century. Archimedes was around in like the year 100. Get out of here. The man invented the freaking well, the screw well. He didn't have anything to do with the euro. What are you talking? He spoke ancient Greek, not modern Greek. Screw you, Pixar. Google something. I Googled it. That's how I know this information.
That's a hard stance, Brent.
It is.
You know, Brent, I really can't
0 out
argue.
of 10.
I think Soul might be big trash.
It is.
You know what? I take back everything I said. It's confirmed for big trash now.
Soul has no soul. That's what we should title the review. If you want people to click on this video, title it Soul Has No Soul. A biting critique of Soul.
Yeah, I'm not going to do that.
Soul is soulless.
Oh, that's a good newspaper headline.
It is.
Well, that's about all my
a soulless
Pixar
crash
hot
grab
takes.
of the African American experience. There was one bit of commentary on racial relations in America, and it was just him trying to hail a cab, like a taxi cab. He's like, it's hard to do even when I'm not insane looking. So I thought that was very brave of Disney to comment.
Brave.
It was very brave of Disney.
So, what do you guys want to talk about next week?
I kind of want to talk about music.
I feel like that's a question we should have prepared for.
Yeah, it just hit me. I'm like, oh, what's next week's movie?
I don't want to talk about movies.
How about we have two? We can talk about movie and a music.
Movie and a music. Do we all want to talk about the same music?
Yes.
Okay.
I was thinking.
What are we going to review? Radiohead? I'm a Radiohead infant, so y'all get a lot of my raw.
That's true. We can listen to In Rainbows.
I was thinking like one song from each of their albums.
Really? I think it'd be more
because that'll show like their artistic progression.
Or we could just listen to all their albums.
That's a lot of work. That's literally like 7 hours of your time.
Do I need to? I feel like if we did that, I'd need to start with an intro Radiohead level. Oh,
that's why I was gonna make like a playlist of one song.
So yeah, I was thinking either the Benz or Pablo Honey because I feel like I probably need to work my way.
Don't listen to Pablo Honey. Do not listen to Pablo.
Just skip it.
Don't listen to the Benz either, in my opinion. Both of those albums are trash, in my opinion.
I am a low-key Benz supporter.
I really don't like either of them, but that's.
I can do OK Computer. OK Computer seems to be.
We can do OK Computer.
One. I'll do OK Computer. I'm fine with that.
Okay. Let's review
OK. We can edit around our incompetence here, I'm sure. Because
none of us know anything about.
We can segue into an ending here.
Oh yeah.
We can pretend it'll be like next week we're going to talk about blank movie and
what's the movie?
Let me choose a movie.
Okay, Brent, choose a movie.
All right. He's typing on his fake keyboard.
Yeah.
Let us
his
watch
placebo keyboard.
Let's watch the film. Hold on, this is going to take a second. I have like a list of films I want to talk about. I didn't type in movie. I didn't type in movies on Google. Let's watch Come and See. Let's watch Come and See.
Are you serious? I mean, we can.
I really want to watch Come and See, but we should not talk about Come and See.
I mean, it'd be interesting. I love Come and See.
I want to watch it, but I don't want to.
Actually,
I don't think.
Yeah.
Let's watch Come and See.
Let's watch Come and See.
So Soul was a good movie. Next time we're going to talk about Radiohead and the film Come and See.
So I guess all our listeners will just have to come and see us talk about it.